What's up, YouTube? We're out here today, and today it's like a rainy day and stuff. It's all terrible outside. So I'm in a parking garage, and I'm gonna be showing you my 5 tips for skating on round rails, but like the easiest way without getting like injured or something. Just like my 5 tips for skating round rails. Let's do it. Alright, so tip number 1 is round rails are all about precision, right? You want to be really precise so that you minimize the amount of times that you slip off when you're trying to like grind 50-50 or whatever. So when you're trying to grind it, you know how you're trying to get those like diagonal lock or like the heel lock or something? How you get that is by being really precise every single time you do it and accurate. So what I do in order to stay like that is when I'm riding up to the rail, I'll pick a specific spot and focus my eyes and my soles straight into that spot on the rail. That way when I jump, I have a pretty high % chance of landing right where I'm looking. When I look straight into the sole of the rail, I'm gonna land on that spot. So that's my biggest tip for staying precise on round rails, is to focus on it real deeply. All right, another tip that I utilize specifically for 50-50 grinds on round rails is I roll up at like a really slight angle so that when I jump on, I won't land on the toe side wheels, because when you do that, you'll roll out and fall and die every single time.
12 seconds later.
So when you land on the heel side wheels, you'll stay in. And I do that by just rolling up at a really slight angle. All right? So that's tip number 2. Come at a small angle for your 50-50 grinds. All right. Tip number 3 is to try to maintain loose posture and not be all tensed up and everything. Because when you're tense, that's a no-go, that's bad. You'll get all scared. You'll end up accidentally doing what you really don't want to do when you're skating rails, right? So stay loose and confident. Confidence is key, all right? When you're confident and you stay loose, trust me, you'll have a much higher % chance of actually staying on the rail and grinding it and not dying and like slipping off. So that's a pretty good tip. If you ask me, it's all in the head. Everything you do, skateboarding is 95% in the head. So even when you see these intimidating round rails, as long as you're confident, you'll make it, all right? All right, tip number 4 is to try to stay, or if possible, try to learn whatever trick you're trying to do on a ledge or something easier first. Because if you've never even 50-50, let's say a ledge, the possibility of you doing it on round rails is pretty small. So if you learn your tricks in like a stair thing, like a pyramid, work yourself up to the top being a round rail, or a handrail actually, you gotta start small. When you get really comfortable with 50-50s or whatever you're trying to learn on a ledge, it'll translate pretty easily to a round rail. Because round rails are not as hard as you'll make them out to be. The biggest thing is you just have to lock in. And you're not gonna lock in as easily if you don't really even know how to do the trick. Know what I'm saying? So do a bunch of 50-50s on a ledge, or 5-0s, or crooked guns, or whatever, and then by the time you get to the round rail, it's the same thing. It's just a round rail. All right? All right, tip number 5 is easily the most important and sort of a culmination of everything I've learned before. It's that locking in is absolutely key. Locking in, when you get a proper lock on that rail in whatever grind you're trying to do, it's exactly the same feeling as every other thing else. You just have to have pretty good balance. But the faster you go, the less balance you need because your forward momentum keeps you on the rail. So speed is key and locking in is key. Locking in comes in when you do the trick a lot on a ledge or something, then you know the way it feels. Then all you have to do is translate that to the rail. So locking into whatever trick you're trying to do, especially for grinds, or like only really for grinds, every grind has a locking point. And when you can find that out, it'll make round rails a lot easier. So lock into your tricks. Alright, that's it for this video. Next week, my normal Monday video is going to come out one day late or two because I'm going to Snowflex, so it's either going to be next Tuesday or next Wednesday because it's a 4-day weekend for us. So we're going to Snowflex. I promise this time we're actually going to go. Gonna get some snowboarding, some skiing, all that stuff. And that's a wrap for this video. You know the saying, right? Peace out, mate.